Greetings, adult collectors. I am Crash the Customizer. Welcome to another custom Transformers showcase. This is my custom Transformers Rescue Bots Heatwave and a custom of the Firehouse. First, we'll take a look at Heatwave. So this Heatwave figure is made from the OG Transformers Animated Optimus Prime, not the legacy one. Now you may be wondering, why make a custom of this character? Because there's already the official one in the Age of the Primes line. And this is just my opinion, but that figure is a dumpster fire that not even Heatwave himself can put out. Now, I know that seems kind of harsh, but I honestly did not like the bulkhead mold, and they just kept reusing that mold over and over because they used him for the bulkhead. Then they made it into Breakdown, which didn't work either, and then finally Heatwave, and that figure just did not work for Heatwave. It didn't work with Bulkhead either, but hey, you know. So I already did not like the mold, and it was not show accurate to Heatwave. It just didn't work. Like, for me, I just didn't like it because I wanted to make a more show accurate Heatwave to actually how he appeared in the show. And since he can't actually have in that particular mold the ability for his hands to become the front of the vehicle, I'm like, no, I ain't doing this, because when that figure was actually announced back in 2024, I was all like, all right, Heatwave, because my favorite Rescue Bots character, and I was all excited, and then I saw the figure, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to buy that. So I made this custom one from the original Transformers Animated Optimus Prime. Now, why did I choose this mold? Simply because I can actually make his hands become the front of the vehicle. But we'll get into that in a little bit. First, we'll take a look at his head here. So as you can see, I basically just cut off the little Optimus Prime ears, painted this with some red. I painted the little yellow right there. And then, I don't know if you can see this, but he has actually some eyes behind this little blue visor. And then the actual jaw piece, which I did have to cut down quite a bit to be able to make it look like his actual mouth instead of actual like face guard like the Optimus Prime figure. And I did actually break the little gimmick where the Optimus Prime face mask could go up and down, which would have been kind of cool if I could have saved that, because then he could have look like he's talking, but I wasn't able to do that. And so I, of course, just like I said, painted it with some reds, some grays, and then I took a marker to make this little clear piece actually look blue, and this is actually just a cut off piece of some plastic, and I just glued it on there and then colored over the marker to kind of give that actual transparency to it. And then I, of course, like painted this little section here to actually make like his front windshield. You can still kind of see the actual original windows, and I did actually put a little Play-Doh in here to actually paint over this, so I actually have this kind of come a little bit more, like, so you can still see the kind of the lines where it was, but that's what I can really do about that. And then, of course, I just paint all the sections red, covered up, of course, put this little detail here, and then, of course, there's this little back section here that becomes the actual little ladder section, and this was from this little Easter egg thing I seen at Walmart during Easter. I just seen these random parts of like a fire truck in this Easter egg. And me being the kind of guy I am, where I'll see something, and I know I can use it for something, I just don't know what at the time. So I just picked it up, and then when I'm making this figure, I'm like, hey, wait a minute, this will be perfect for Heatwave. And then the actual ladder section here is made from some Lego ladder pieces that actually do extend. We'll get to more on that in transformation. And then, of course, I attached it on this little clip piece, a little stud here, and it's all glued. And then we have this little section here that actually allows the ladder to turn for transformation. And then I have this little piece here. It doesn't do anything. I was hoping I could make it where I could turn this and turn the ladder, but that wasn't possible. It's just kind of more there to kind of cover up a hole. And then this little, one of those little like bent little clear studs, I don't know what they really call this piece, but no, I put that there so that you can actually attach onto here, which has, of course, the little 1x2 plate there, and allows Heatwave's little backpack to be on his back. And that's really pretty much it. Of course, I did also add these little sections here, which were from a Mega Construct set. It's kind of worked really good for his little light bars. And then I took this little slope piece so I can kind of raise it up a little bit to put his actual rescue bot symbol there. And of course, for his hands, I just used these little Lego claw pieces here, and then I glued on some of the little round transparent tiles right there, and then of course attached it with this little piece here, and then I have a little Lego bar inside where the hands used to be, so that flips out to become his thumb. So now I'll go ahead and breed some comparisons for him. So here he is with the Legacy Animated Optimus Prime. And here he is with the Optimus Prime from his universe. And unfortunately, I don't have Chase. When that figure came out, I wanted to get it, I didn't get it, and now I've got to try to get it actually on resale, so who knows when I'll get that figure, but that's pretty much it for the comparisons. So now I'll go ahead and get into transformation. So the reason I picked this particular figure is simply because this figure transforms perfectly to actually make a show-accurate transformation for Heatwave. First thing we're going to do here is go ahead and fold in his thumbs, and they will kind of go like right into this little section here. And then we do have to actually do a little parts forming. I know, worst thing ever, but it's got to be done because there's no way to make this not actually work without it has the parts form. So anyway, so we're going to pull this section down, push his head in. Go ahead and bring this section in so it kind of clips in right there, and then his arms will tab into the section back here. Just kind of line that up, tab that in. Then we're going to unattach these little wheel sections here, and then this is on a little spring, so it'll just flip around like that. So bring out those wheels. Then we'll go ahead and tab his legs together, and then go ahead and push his legs in, bring down his feet, and then we'll take this little section here, bring it down, and it'll clip right into a little crotch section right here once you get things lined up right. There we go. And what we need to do is we need to take these little wheel sections here, and then we'll tab in right here on the sides of the crotch here. Got to get lined up. Can be a little tricky to get them all lined up. You just got to get them in the right position. There we go. And then we'll tab these together, bring them up. And bring this thing down just for now. So now we're going to work on the hands, and that just basically takes pushing the whole entire arms in. And why I like this actual mold is because you actually push his hands in just like this, and it actually creates the show accurate transformation where his hands or his fingers become the grill, which is actually show accurate, unlike what the Transformers Age of the Primes figure didn't actually do because it was molded. So now I take this little section here and flip the ladder around, and there's this little 1x2 plate here, and I'll peg in right there, and there we have Heatwave in his fire truck mode. And I love how this fire truck turned out. I mean, this literally looks exactly what Heatwave actually looked in the show. And this is what the Transformers Age of the Primes figure should have looked like. But, hey, I guess that's something for me to do. Something for me to come up with. So, anyway, so as far as the ladder, it does actually extend quite far. Because it's on this little Lego piece that actually attaches in. I did actually cut it down so it wouldn't be super long, but actually have the ladder extend up, so you can actually have him like, let's see here, actually like trying to climb up to put that fire out or something. And then of course it can be on the front or extend off from the back. It just extends back into that or collapses back up. And of course it does roll still pretty well because nothing I did really changed any of the rolling. I mean, this does kind of rub on the ground a little bit since it can't actually go up all the way because of the fingers, but it does not affect the rolling at all. So now we'll go ahead and bring some comparisons in vehicle mode. So here he is with the Transformers Legacy Animated Optimus Prime. And one thing I did notice is I did also cut off the light bars originally right here, so that way I could have these light bars. One thing I would like to say, since this actually was originally the pre-figure before this figure came out, since it was actually originally the OG figure of the Animated Optimus Prime, I will say when it comes to Optimus Prime, as far as animated, I actually like this figure better. But for Heatwave, this figure is perfect. And here he is with Optimus Prime from his universe. Now before we transform back into robot mode, I do want to show off a little bit of this little firehouse here. So, what this is, I believe they called this the Kids Connection Firehouse. I don't really know much about it other than the fact that I seen it at Walmart and I thought it could kind of work for the Rescue Bots Fire Station. And this is also before I knew there was actually an official one. But honestly, this was kind of cool to kind of have my own kind of version. So I actually bought this on eBay so that I could buy it without all the stuff, because this had like a fire truck of its own and a bunch of other vehicles and stuff that I didn't really care for. I just wanted the building. And it was like $24 at Walmart when I got this for like less than like 17 with just the building, which honestly for me is kind of more worth it because all I wanted was the building. So the doors actually do open here. And what's really cool, as I was really kind of hoping this would be the case, is it is actually just wide enough and tall enough for Heatwave to drive through it, which is perfect. And I was so happy it actually was able to do that. And as far as other things this thing actually can do, of course, these little fire things is kind of just, you know, it can do that, but it's not really important. But one that I find really cool, if I can get a good shot of this, turn that around to kind of see what I'm doing here, is there's this little section right here, this little platform that actually goes all the way up to this level and then extends down to this level and then goes actually all the way to the bottom here. And of course, obviously in the show there was actually a little like pole that went down, but the fact that it has this little platform, I found this really cool. And I did actually test this with some of my human character customs, and it can work pretty decently. And for anybody wondering, yes, I will eventually be making the human characters from Rescue Bots eventually, but I don't know when I'll get to that, because now I'm doing these a little more randomly. It'll just be any time that I actually feel like doing it. But yeah, the fact that it could actually have this little platform go up and down, and actually my little custom human characters can actually stand in this, make things really cool actually. And of course, I did put the little Rescue Bots logo right here, covering up the original symbol here. And this does have supposed to have like lights and sounds, but mine didn't work. But I didn't care for that. I didn't buy it because of that. But it's kind of like a shame that those don't even work. But oh well, it doesn't really matter. So now we'll go ahead and transform Heatwave back to its robot mode. So first thing we need to do is remove this section here. Then we're left with this. So we're going to open up his hands here, just like he does in the show, and we'll untab the arms here. I do tab in pretty well, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but just makes things a little hard here. It's just kind of hard to get that to untab. Might help maybe if I do this first here. Let me untab these. Kind of have a little more leverage here. Pull out his arms. There we go. Give me a little more pull on here. So we do that. Then we got this weird looking thing here. Here, let's do this. Anyway, so what we're going to go and do now is we're going to bring these little sections here down, untap his legs, flip up his feet, go ahead and extend the legs, flip them around, flip these wheels around, And then these will tab in right here. And then there is this tab here, but it doesn't seem to actually tab. It just kind of more just sits in there. It doesn't really actually seem to tab in, but it actually is pretty secure in its tab right here, so it doesn't really need that. And then there is kind of an automorph gimmick. You're supposed to be able to flip this, and then just kind of flies around like that. I remember as a kid when I used to have this figure, I used to do like something like this, like he was like doing some kind of super kick or something, but that probably eventually did actually break my original one where this thing was like super weak. But you know, the stuff we do as kids, we learn are probably not the best thing to be doing with figures, but hey, you know. So now to finish up the transformation here, we need to flip out his thumbs. This one always likes to get stuck, so I have to take a little thing here and get it out of there. Come on. Come on, man. It always seems to happen. It's when it gets stuck. Hard to get it out. There we go. Because how I actually made that is I just took a little Lego bar piece and actually put that in there. And it does tend to get stuck, but anyway. So then what we need to do is open up this section here. Bring up his head. Tab that in. And then this will peg in right here. That little peg right there. And now we have Heatwave back into his robot mode. And I am honestly really happy with how this figure turned out, because it is way more show accurate than the official one we got. And this is a figure that I want to display, because this actually looks like what Heatwave looked like. And like I mentioned earlier, Heatwave was my favorite character from Rescue Bots, and when the figure came out, I was all excited, like, alright, my favorite character, and then I see what they came up with, I'm like, no, this is not Heatwave. This is Heatwave. This is what the Age of the Primes figure should have been. And, I mean, I don't know why. I mean, I understand this is like an old mold, but this will have been the perfect mold for this, because his hands can literally transform to become the front of his vehicle, just like he did in the show. So, this is something that really needed to be done. Like, somebody had to do it, and I went through a lot of figures trying to think of, okay, what would work, because like I had some ideas of figures that might work, and then I thought, wait a minute, Animated Optimus Prime is perfect. So if you like this video, be sure to check out the description where you'll find a link to all of my other custom playlists. They'll take you to my Transformers Prime customs, my Transformers Animated customs, and any future Transformers Rescue Bots customs. There will also be a link that will take you to my stop motion channel, where I'm currently just doing some random stop motions, but I am actually working on a stop motion series. I don't know necessarily when I'll have that completed, but I am working on it, so be sure to check that out. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any future customs. Until next time, this is Crash the Customizer out.
Heatwave, what was so important that you had to call me 172 times? It's the whole leader thing. It just isn't working out for me. What seems to be the problem? Well, it's my team, Optimus. Chase is always by the book. Boulder's always building things. And don't even get me started with Blades. I just can't seem to get them to follow my orders. Are you sure the problem is your team? Are you saying this is my fault? How is this my fault? A team is only as good as its leader. Then maybe this whole leader thing just isn't for me. I chose you because I knew you could do it. And to be a true leader, you must not look for all of your teammates' flaws, but learn to work with their differences, not against them. Well, I suppose I can give it another try. But if I can't, then we will see about getting you a new mission. But I believe in you.